remembrance of me. In the same way, after supper, he took the cup, saying, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood. Do this whenever you drink it in remembrance of me." So when we gather here every week, we are remembering the goodness of God. We are remembering his sacrifice. We are reflecting on our own sin and how we need a Savior. We are celebrating, yes, we are celebrating at the table that Jesus made a way for us where previously there was no way. All of these things happen, y'all, when we gather together for this meal, and it's precious. It's precious. Verse 26 says, "For whenever you eat this bread," whenever it is, "whenever you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes." His body, his blood, given to us to reconcile our lives, the missing piece that every believer, every human needs. And it was foretold by Isaiah the prophet. The Lord showed me this here earlier in the week. It was just a reminder. I'd read the text before, but it was a reminder of it. About that suffering servant that Isaiah speaks of in his prophecy in Isaiah 53. And when I read it, I was just, I was so thankful to the Lord for the timeliness of it with what we're studying. And it's chapter 53 in Isaiah. It won't be on the screen, but it's verses 4 and 5. It says, "Surely," remember, Isaiah is prophesying about the Messiah that would come. "Surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering. Yet we considered him punished by God, stricken by him and afflicted." But here's what Isaiah is about to say that really makes all this make more sense. Here's what actually happened with Jesus. He was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Y'all, when we gather here, this is what we're remembering. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him. And by his wounds, we are healed. So when we gather, when we have these reminders, 52 times a year, sometimes more, depending on a special service or something. But when we gather and we break this bread and we come around this table, people will sometimes say, "Well, 52 times a year, Nick. I mean, that, eventually that's just going to sort of become rote, and you're not going to really appreciate it," and so on and so forth. And I just always say to that, only if you let that happen. Only if you let that happen. So we've been intentional as a community. We've been intentional as a church family to talk about it, to gather, to look into that peace, P-E-A-C-E, that Jesus brings. He is the missing piece, P-I-E-C-E, that the whole world needs. And what our responsibility is, what our role in this is to help people see that there's room, there's space, there is plenty to eat, and they are invited. I pray this morning as Anna and the team are going to come up and lead us in this special song, I pray that as you reflect on the words of this song, that we now as a church community, as a family, I always laugh when I use that word because I always think about, like when Google says like their work family, and like Microsoft says their work family, and whatever the place down the street says family. I always kind of check myself when I say it because I say, "Okay, Nick, you called us a family. Are we really?" And I always come back to, "Oh yeah, no, we absolutely are." Because I think about the way I see y'all loving one another and caring for one another and supporting one another and being a part of something bigger that matters. Man, it's not just words, as it might feel in a corporate setting. It's not just words. God has made us something special. We come in a lot of ways, in some degree, strangers, but we gather around this table and we become something. And in that becoming, we are made family. And it is beautiful.